waiting for a few more of you guys to join before we start talking. But we are at the No Hate, No Fear March in Manhattan. We just started at Foley Square and now we're walking on the Brooklyn Bridge. There are about, I would say, close to 10,000 people here, and people came from all over. Okay, hi guys. So for you guys who don't know me, my name's Danielle Aziri. I'm the New York correspondent for Haaretz.com. And I am taking you today with me on this march that started about half an hour ago in downtown Manhattan. The title is No Hate, No Fear. You have people here standing behind me with a sign. Show your signs. So, one good example, you came from Cleveland?
Yeah.
How did you make the trip? Was it today, this morning?
Yeah, well, we left at 12 at midnight, so.
What's your name?
Abby.
Abby. Why was it important for you to come here, Abby?
I mean, in solidarity for the Jewish community as well. I mean, I'm part of it, but I thought it was a really, peak moment to demonstrate it.
Yeah. So you felt it was important for you to make the trip, and you guys came. There's quite a big group of you, right?
Yeah.
From Cleveland.
Yeah, we're in this big crowd.
Very nice. So this is one example. Thank you, Abby. This is one example of someone who came from far away at midnight last night to show up here. But you can see behind me. I hope you can see, but the crowd is huge. I've covered a lot of protests, a lot of rallies on this topic and on many other topics. I don't think I've seen anything this big. Even the Women's March, my first year, didn't feel as dense as this. So, yeah, I would say this is pretty huge. Hi, what's your name?
Bruce.
Bruce.
What's yours?
I'm Danielle. I'm the New York correspondent for Haaretz, newspaper from Israel.
Oh, pleasure.
Pleasure. So I'm doing a live for our viewers so that they can kind of get the picture and come with us on this little trip of ours. I'm wondering where you're from and why did you come here?
I'm here to support. What are we here to support?
We're here to support peace and no hatred. Freedom for all.
Are you Jewish?
Yes.
And where are you from?
New York.
You're from New York.
Yep.
How
Born
have you
and
been?
raised.
How have you been feeling lately with all the things we've been seeing happening in
Sad.
Brooklyn? And
Very sad for the
Very
world.
sad.
Yeah.
Versus just one ethnic group.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a shame that, unfortunately, from one of the books that I read a few weeks ago, it's been going on since the 1100s.
Yeah.
Okay. And without getting into what I'll call my opinion is very sad people can't get away.
Yeah. Bruce, thank you so much.
All the best and be safe.
Thank you for talking
everywhere.
to us. We will. So that's one more person that you just saw. Also, this guy was from New York. But I'm going to give you another view of this because as we're getting on the bridge and we're kind of going up, the view's getting even better. We do have a really nice day outside. Here you go. So here are all the people behind me. We do have a really nice day outside, but it is very cold. It is extremely cold actually, and really windy, and people have been commenting on me not having gloves. Which I do, but those are gloves you can type with. One person said it's either bravery or stupidity. I just called it being a journalist. But so this is just to give you a sense of the weather conditions are really cold, and yet people are showing up, and that didn't stop anybody here from showing up. Covered, of course, but they're all here. So let's try to talk to some more people here. One thing you have to know about this march is that it is not sponsored by any specific organization. Any Jewish organization that wanted to sponsor the march was able to do that. So there was no political affiliation. I have not seen any political signs, so to speak, but I have seen many people from many different political backgrounds join this event. So you have organizations promoting it. Organizations like ZOA is considered more on the right side of the political spectrum. Workers' Circle, which is more on the left side. Even some anti-Zionist organizations that are here. It just feels like people have kind of put aside their political disagreements for this one. And I've seen so many different people with so many different political opinions show up to this or promote it in the past couple of days online. So that's why this is so significant, also from not just from the numbers, but also the unity that it kind of represents. So another view here. There you go, and these are the guys from Cleveland here that you can see with their signs. Let's see if we can talk to a few more people here. Let me go find someone with a cool sign for you to speak to. No hate, no fear is the slogan for this, but there's a lot of different signs and people are carrying different messages around with them. Hi guys, can I talk to you guys?
Yeah, for sure.
My name's Danielle, I'm the New York correspondent for Haaretz.
Alright, cool.
How old are you guys?
16.
16. What's your name?
I'm Nathan. Aiden.
Hi guys, so tell me why did you come here today? Why did you choose to spend your Sunday on the Brooklyn Bridge in the freezing cold?
I mean, there's no other way to do it, you know? This is showing our proud Judaism. You know, stuff's going on and we gotta stand up, you know? This is the one way we can do it and it's the best thing to do right now.
How have you been feeling lately watching kind of what's going on with whether it's Monsey recently or what's happening in Brooklyn? What do you feel as young Jews?
I feel like it's sad, but I feel like we can't let it get the best of us because that's what they want to get from us, but we just need to stand up. Like, that's why there's so many people here today to show that we're not going to back down, and this is why we're here. Like, we're not going to let them take us out.
Yeah,
there's a sense of disgust, right? It's like, it's sad that we can't be proud for who we are. And that's what this is all about, right? There's hundreds of thousands of us right now showing that we're proud and like it's showing that they can't stop us.
So you guys are 16. In 2 years, you're going to college.
Yeah.
As you know, college has been discussed as a big issue in terms of anti-Semitism.
Yes.
College campuses have been notorious for that. So I'm just wondering, how are you guys prepared to start the college chapter?
That's really important. There are many organizations, especially in Cleveland, that educate us about how to defend ourselves, especially on the college campus. And it's definitely a big issue, but I feel like we'll be prepared because there are a lot of people in organizations now helping out young Jewish teens figure out what to do on college campuses.
You guys safe?
Yeah.
Feeling prepared?
Yeah.
All right, great. It was so nice to meet you guys. Bye.
And your children.
All right, so you see, like young kids too, 16 years old, about to start college. Also, you know, colleges in the U.S. have been discussed as big battlefields for Jewish students and for anti-Semitism in general. So that's something that they're already preparing for. Again, little crowd status over here. Can you see that? And it goes way, way past. I know some politicians are here. Got the Mayor de Blasio is here. Not that I can find him in this crowd, but he's probably in the front. We have a delegation from the Consulate of Israel also here, although Danny Dayan couldn't make it. He did say that he was with the Marchers in Spirit on Twitter yesterday. Danny Dayan is the Consul General of Israel in New York, for those who don't know. But we have a lot of public figures coming. I just saw earlier, said hi to Carolyn Maloney, Congresswoman, who has been pushing, by the way, Holocaust education for a really long time. And she's pushing it again now with the wave of anti-Semitism and the importance of education and all that. So we've seen her, we've seen Governor Cuomo was here too, and I believe he's also marching up in the front. Like I said, Mayor de Blasio. There's also reports that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, is also here marching today. So that kind of goes to show you the people from all different sides of the political spectrum, and no matter what they think about Israel or the Palestinians or Zionism in general, these organizations and these people are really showing up because there's a feeling that this is a cause you can rally around. This is a cause you can agree on, that nobody should live in fear. Now I do want to talk a little bit about some criticism, because as you know, with any Jewish event there is always criticism. I spoke yesterday with a Chabad rabbi on Twitter, and he messaged me explaining that he was hesitant about coming to this. And you have to know that when you're here on the Brooklyn Bridge and you're looking at the crowd, I've seen very few Orthodox Jews. And they are the ones affected by what is going on. They're the ones affected by the tragedy in Monsey. They were the ones affected by what happened in Jersey City earlier this month with the shooting. And they're the ones affected in Brooklyn from all these little incidents that we've seen reported over the past years, but particularly in the past couple of months, a couple of weeks. So there's definitely not so many Orthodox Jews here in the crowd, which made a lot of people kind of raise eyebrows, thinking, why are they not part of the conversation? Why are they not part of these rallies? There might be a lot of different reasons why. But one rabbi yesterday talked to me on Twitter, as I said, and he did say that he felt the march should have gone through the Orthodox neighborhoods in Brooklyn instead of going through just the Brooklyn Bridge and ending basically in Dumbo or Brooklyn Heights. For him, that was kind of a missed opportunity, is how he described it. He saw it as more effective if the organizers of the march had just decided to take it through the Orthodox neighborhoods, which would have shown solidarity directly with the people affected, but also would have kind of sent a message to the community there that they're not alone. And in addition, he said it would have supported the local businesses, and that's what he encouraged people to do through, my conversation with him. He said he would like to see people go to kosher businesses in these areas and kind of support those businesses in that community by purchasing things, by spending some time in a coffee shop. So that's kind of one view, but I know that a lot of people in the Orthodox community kind of share this. They feel a bit left out from the conversation, and they do feel that this should have gone through their neighborhoods to really show direct support. So that's one view. It's important to talk about. It's important to mention and to make sure that you guys know that this is not all agreement and unity, but there is a little bit of criticism behind it. So we are now on the Brooklyn Bridge, and it's just, of course, magnificent. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. But nothing beats this view. Yeah, so you can see it's pretty spectacular. If I turn around, you'll be able to see a beautiful, beautiful view as well. So this is going to go on for a couple of hours. We are all marching, and you can maybe hear, but there are I'll show you. There are cars passing by and honking at the protesters or the marchers in show of support. So that's pretty cool as well. There's really a sense of kind of, positive unity here, which you don't see always during rallies and protests. So that's pretty nice for people marching and just as a journalist to be able to see that as well. Hi, how are you? Can I ask you a few questions? Sure. My name's Danielle. I'm the New York correspondent for Haaretz. Was wondering, what's your name?
Sherry,
Sherry. Tell me why you're here today, Sherry.
I had to be here. As a Jew with the increased anti-Semitism, I had to be here to show the world that Jews matter and that we don't just sit idly by while hate crimes are committed against us.
Where are you from?
I'm from New Jersey,
You're from New Jersey.
but a New Yorker at heart.
So this is quite a big thing, right? It's not a small event. This is something really big, and we've seen people from all different sides of the political spectrum also show up. I've seen Jewish organizations from the right section or the left section all kind of promoting this event recently. So I just was wondering, is this a moment where you put politics aside?
For me, and I believe for most of us, that's what we're doing. Politics is irrelevant. Being Jewish and loving one another and loving those who are not Jewish is the most important thing. And politics, that's, to me, irrelevant.
Sherry, thank you so much.
You're welcome. God
Nice
bless
to
you.
meet you. So we're getting to this section of the bridge, you know, the little places where it kind of gets a little bit bigger. Got people here, young kids, families. I've seen people with strollers, which I to make sure that things work perfectly. There's the cars down here. A little bit of chanting. So that's the kind of thing that you'll see on the bridge. And I have here a friend of mine that I want to talk to, Ben. Nice to see you. I'm live on Haaretz.com. This is Ben Sam.
Hi, we're live.
Writer for JTA, and a good friend. We went to journalism school together. Ben, what's your sense of this as a journalist? Because I've kind of been sharing what I feel from kind of seeing this and how it's kind of rare to see people from ZOA and organizations like the Worker Circle or coming together for this. So what's your take as a journalist?
Yeah, I'm just taking it all in. I mean, just the sight of thousands and thousands of people. They said it could be 20,000 people, even more than that. Come together on such short notice too for this march. I think it's really surprising. So just within the week, and so I'm just. I mean, it's just a cacophony of sights and sounds and Jewish people from across the country coming together. I'm still digesting all of it, but it certainly is incredible.
Does it remind you, because some people have kind of made the parallel with the march in Paris that happened a couple of years ago, right? Where we saw state leaders kind of march together in the front. Is that kind of what we can compare this to, you think?
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, the comparison to what's happening in Europe I've been hearing that more and more. I just talked to a guy, just a Jewish New Yorker, who said, we need to put police outside of every Jewish institution. As we know, that's what's been happening in Europe for a very long time. So look, I think that those comparisons are happening. One thing I think is different is that here the governments in the U.S. don't have the same kind of history of anti-Semitism.
Right.
The U.S. in general doesn't have the same kind of history of anti-Semitism as Europe does, obviously. So I think a lot of what's happening here with American Jews is shock. People didn't expect this to happen in America, whereas in Europe I think there's a little less shock, just obviously because of the history.
That's a really good point. And the shock definitely is like every time something happens, although we kind of see it all the time because you and I meet on the scenes of these events.
This is where we see each other now.
That's where we see each other. Those are our friend little meetups. But but it's just, for us, it's become kind of a routine. But there's still an element of shock that you just can't shake, right?
Personally, there's certainly an element of shock. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I grew up in the American Jewish community. This is not something I experienced as a child.
Yeah.
It's not something I experienced as a young adult. It's something we're experiencing now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as journalists, we're a little bit more in it. So I guess we're a little, a little more used to it because we cover it. But it's still certainly shocking.
Yeah.
So it's not something you expect. Yeah.
Ben,
Yeah.
nice to see you.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you
Keep
so
doing
much.
your work.
Thanks.
Okay.
This is Ben Sales, as I told you, JTA reporter and a really good friend of mine who went to journalism school with me. But he did kind of talk about the wave of anti-Semitism, and I want to talk about that. It's been really difficult to cover. I want you guys to understand that it's not just you go as a journalist, you cover it, you file a story, and you go to sleep and you don't think about it. It's one of those things that just kind of stays with you. Whether you have a background of experiencing it before or you don't, many journalists have spoken to are very affected by what's going on, by the scenes that we've been seeing. Going to the scene of the shooting in Jersey City was particularly disturbing. Seeing the bullet holes, seeing the fragments of bullets on the floor being shown to you, and you can even pick them up, and there's just something about it that feels very heavy. This is, although we are kind of covering it now, and also, you know, this has been kind of in the news recently a lot more than usual. Orthodox people, Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn have experienced this for years. I have not spoken to one Orthodox Jew in Brooklyn who has never had an episode with something anti-Semitic. Whether it is you walk in the street and a car passes by, they open the window and they start screaming "dirty Jew," or somebody getting spit on, or a slap in the face, or punched. This is very real. Yes, I know you guys read about it on our newspaper, you read about it online, you get kind of the article, and it's a crime story, but for people who are visibly Jewish in Brooklyn recently, it has been fear. I've had one particular person after the Jersey City shooting say to me that they felt like a sitting duck. They felt like a target at a shooting range, and that at any point he could step outside and get shot. And having someone say that to you with a conviction that this is really what he believes, this is not an exaggeration for him, in that tone is extremely sad. There's something really powerful about reporting that, because as a journalist you want to make sure people understand the impact that these things have on the actual individuals, and make sure that people kind of grasp how these individuals feel. I feel like that's our job, but it's difficult. It's really difficult to explain. So these are the kind of comments I've been getting recently. Been hearing about people who are hesitating as to whether they should send their kids to school the day after Muncie, for example. Or I can tell you that there was also some of my friends in the community, and even crossed my mind, on Christmas Day, when all the Jews in New York go to the movie theater, there were some thoughts of should I be sitting in a movie theater on Christmas Day. So that's the kind of reality that we're talking about, and this is the reason why people are here today, showing their support, because it's really real. It's happening on a daily basis. I've had to cover this way too much, and we try to make sure that we have as much in-depth coverage of this. There are many people in the Jewish scene and in the non-Jewish scene, whether it's officials or city officials or state officials, who are working really hard to try to a remedy to the situation in a reaction kind of way. So that means security, just cameras, kind of very surface level measures. And then the other part of that is also people who have been kind of looking at the causes of it and how we can change it for the long term. It's really hard to change hate when it's an adult that's been kind of born and raised into it, but we still have a shot with the younger generation, and that's what I've been hearing from a lot of Jewish leaders and state officials and city officials. So that's something that they're focused on. That's more of the long-term, holistic kind of approach, and then there's the reaction kind of approach. Although there is a sense in the Orthodox community and in the Jewish community in general that people trust the authorities very much, they also feel that more has to be done right now, that this is not enough. Someone has, for example, suggested to me that cameras on the street, which already exist in Brooklyn, should be monitored live instead of just checked after the incidents. So that's one example of something that's been proposed. Another thing I mentioned to you earlier, Carolyn Maloney, the congresswoman, she's been pushing for months and months now, or even over years, the idea that Holocaust education should be mandatory in all schools in the US. Currently only 13 states force their schools, if you can call it that, to teach the Holocaust. So that's something, for example, that could be a quick fix tomorrow, Carolyn Maloney at least believes. So these are the kind of, this is the kind of scene that the Jewish community has been kind of dealing with recently. And it's touching Jews from all over, because you can see here there are Jews, as I told you, from all over the political spectrum, all kinds of denominations, all kinds of levels of practicing their religion. So it's really varied. I've seen some Israelis too. So people are really coming together over this. It's affecting them, but there still is a sense that the Orthodox community, the more visibly Jewish community, is the one more affected, and they're not so present in these events. So that's a point that I want to dig into a little bit more, understand a little bit more why they're not here, and how we can still include them in the conversation. That's a big issue that I want to ask people about in the coming weeks as we are reporting more on this and giving you a little bit more in-depth information on what this crisis is really like. I'll show you the sign of this gentleman because it's a nice sign. I like your sign. What's the organization? It's National Council of Jewish Women. Nice sign. What's your name? Tell me, why are you here today? I'm, by the way, Danielle. I work for Haaretz newspaper. We're live right now on their Facebook page. I'm wondering, why did you come here today?
I am here today because I'm a person who understands the need of protest. Without protest, there is silence, and with silence, people fill in their own stories of what is truth. I'd rather be here protesting and know that I'm doing what I can, my hishtadlus. Thank you.
Tell me, just one question for you.
Yes.
I've noticed people from all over the political spectrum are here today. Whether it's, ZOA organization or your organization or a lot of other people who are kind of on different sides of the political spectrum. And they're all kind of coming together today for unity. That's rare in the Jewish community, right?
Well, unity is momentary, yes, I understand.
So how do you feel about that? Do you feel that this is an opportunity to kind of put the politics aside and just stand behind a cause that we can all agree on?
Well, we teach children and we tell them things, and it doesn't always mean they're going to remember everything.
Yeah.
But it means they'll remember some of it.
Yeah.
So maybe if we stress unity enough, it won't always be valuable, it won't always be true, but it will sometimes occur. This is one time we need unity.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
To us. Thank you.
Take care.
So you can see that's really kind of the consensus here today. It's unity. Let's put the politics aside. And frankly, this is a cause that everybody can agree on. just making sure people are not fearful when they step out of their house. Another thing I do want to talk about before I let you guys go, but the issue of online hate has been coming up in my reporting quite a bit. Recently, over the past couple of months, I've been tweeting a little bit about it, and I've also been writing about Facebook hate groups. There's one in New Jersey specifically that is 18,000 people long, and it's particularly scary to people in the area. So you can check it out. You can check out my article on this issue of online hatred on my Twitter account. I just recently tweeted it again. But the issue of online hatred is also something that organizations who have been working towards combating anti-Semitism have been really focused on. I've recently spoken to Governor Murphy in New Jersey, and that's something that he's been having recently meetings about, quite a lot of meetings about. It's a big issue. The internet is kind of the free speech guardian today, right? And that is really can have big consequences for when it comes to hate. So people in the community have been affected by that. Whether it's small Facebook groups or bigger Facebook groups, but the hate online is not only being expressed, but when you have a page that is perpetrating that and letting comments such as Jews should be killed with rat poison, I've seen, or calling for a Kristallnacht 2019, when you have these kind of comments and they go unanswered, people fuel their hate up together, and it's becoming an echo chamber, and it just eventually bursts out. And a lot of the times you'll see that people who have committed anti-Semitic crimes have written manifestos on these websites. So that's online hate is also a big issue, and I know that authorities are really, really working towards trying to work with maybe Facebook or other social media platforms to try to do something about it, but it's a very challenging battlefield, and that's another layer of this crisis that we're seeing that just kind of adds on to the reality on the ground. So I'll give you another little view of the march. We're approaching the end of the Brooklyn Bridge now, and if I turn around, you'll see the crowd and a beautiful view.
It's nice. We're
So
5 minutes from the
what's
beach.
going to happen now is that we are getting off the Brooklyn Bridge. There's still a lot of people behind us, so they all have to kind of come our way, but we're going to go down to, I believe it is Cadman Plaza, is where we're going to go, and there's going to be a rally there, and a bunch of speakers are going to talk. I believe some state officials, some city officials are going to speak, so we'll see all these politicians over there making speeches, and all these people still have to come, so it'll take a little bit more time, and then that's where the march kind of ends. Of course, what's going to be interesting in the weeks and months to come is to see the response and to see the different initiatives that have been announced in the recent week ever since Monsey happened. There's a lot of initiatives announced, and we're kind of going to see how they play out, how they are being implemented on the ground. It's education initiatives, there's new security measures that are being announced, and really the challenge is to see how long this lasts, whether it is an ongoing effort, and we're really talking about a long-term effort of taking this seriously and getting something done about it, or if this is what we've seen, for example, after Pittsburgh, which was extra cops outside synagogues, extra security measures, but they didn't last super long. So that's kind of the question that people have here is, how long is this unity going to last? Is this going to make a big difference, specifically for the people who are really affected, the Orthodox Jews who live in areas such as Crown Heights and Brooklyn, for example, that's been really affected. So that's going to be our challenge in the recent weeks. That's what I'm going to be following. I'm going to be really looking into that and making sure that you guys get all the different angles of this, so that you have as much information as you can to make your own opinion about this, but also to kind of grasp what the picture is like here. So thank you guys so much for following us. I'm going to give you another little view here. Everybody's here is marching. There's thousands of people behind us still, and we are just getting off the Brooklyn Bridge. So thank you for following us. I hope we gave you a lot of information. I hope you felt like you were joining us on this and getting as much information as you could from people here. So thank you for following us, and we will see you on our website with the coverage of this march in a few hours. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.